Hello and welcome to my first live stream. This is very weird because I'm saying it as it's happening. Let's change that real quick. I am trying to make sure that I have all of this working right. But what I wanted to do today was kind of walk through my Postpartum Wellness app. I have not really live streamed without anybody else doing the work of that. And making sure that everything is up and running. But I thought I would give it a test try because it's one of my goals this year to kind of like push outside of my comfort zone and to do things that I don't normally do. And so this is very much me jumping off of the diving board into the deep end, and we'll see how this goes. But for now, what I want to do is go ahead and walk through my Postpartum Wellness app and some of the things that I'm doing here. So, I'll just give you a little bit of history of what I'm doing here, or trying to do here. So I am a front-end developer. I mostly work in React, but I really am excited about working on this Postpartum Wellness app because a couple of years ago, I went into the App Store and was like, okay, what do they have available for postpartum wellness? And it was like, how can you lose weight? That was the majority of the applications that were out there when I looked. And it was super frustrating for me because I thought, why are we doing this? Although that can be a good goal for each person individually, that's not addressing most of the challenges that the people that I know and myself have faced. And I thought, like, we could be doing better things. We can do things that focus on whole wellness, on mental health, on communication and understanding of yourself and what's going on. And so this is what I've been working on. And this is also, so it's very much me trying to figure out what I'm doing as I go along. And so this is that's my background on what's going on. And I'm just going to kind of walk through these things today, especially since I really hope to be able to do this more with contributors. It's an open source project. And so I am figuring that out as I go, kind of like all of these things that I'm doing. Okay, so this is my Postpartum Wellness App repository. So you can find it here at GitHub. And I'll post the important links in the notes of the video. But so basically the walkthrough is, this is a React Native project, but I am using Expo. I am using TypeScript, although that was kind of a reach for me because I don't really know TypeScript very well. And so what I want to do is kind of like learn as I go along. I think that it's going to be super helpful as things start to grow and get more complicated. And so I'm very, very excited about that. And so I've got some stuff running and going on with this already, and I'll show you that in a little bit, hopefully, as long as YouTube plays nice. But let's see here. Okay, so it is React Native. It is Expo. Here's a little bit of the walkthrough and the project goals. So I have big goals and I'm trying to get there. But like I say here, it's a passion project. So I'm kind of building it out in a way that I'm comfortable with, in a way that allows me to kind of walk through things deliberately and understand them, and to get community contribution because that's really important to me. Most of my contributors have never worked with React Native before. And so one of the things that I love most about what's happened with this is that I've got to learn along with them and walk through with them, and to do a lot of pair programming that I wouldn't have thought that I could do before. And so it was very much the encouragement of the people around me that said, like, hey, listen, you can do this and you can walk other people through this. Just be really honest about where you're at and what you're doing and what your goals are. And then you answer the questions together. And that's been, I don't know, one of like my favorite things that's happened over the last year. So I am hoping to get here, work with AWS Amplify, and it's always on my to-do list every single week. Figure out how to implement that. And then every week, that's kind of the one that gets pushed to the bottom. So I am not there yet. I am in touch with some people who are potentially interested in some machine learning stuff that we could implement, which would be super fantastic and awesome. Like the main goal of this project is really to help women out there, especially because I think postpartum issues are rarely addressed, and because women are frequently not taken seriously. I can't tell you. I have 4 kids, and so I've got ages 11 to 4, and I probably had postpartum anxiety with all of them, and I was never diagnosed with it. It wasn't ever something that anybody talked about. I didn't know it was a thing until much later. And so sometimes it's just we don't have words for what we're feeling, and sometimes we don't talk about the challenges that we're feeling. And so what ends up happening is we think that this is normal, right? I for a very, very long time, I just thought these things that I'm experiencing are normal things until somebody said, well, wait a minute, that's not normal, right? And so that's kind of the hope for this app, that it can be a deliberate process of understanding ourselves as we go through the postpartum experience, but also connecting us to community and resources in a way that is super useful. Okay, so there's a couple of things that you have to do when you get started. So you definitely want to have Node installed. I'm using Yarn for this project. So the easiest way to do it is to make sure that you have that installed and the Expo CLI. I've got links to most of these things here, but what I want to say too is I am like, this is the first project that I'm maintaining. So if you go through here and you have questions or you're not sure about something, for sure, always put it in an issue, because I really want to make this a project that is very well documented so that everybody feels like it's accessible to understand and to work with. And so, if you have a question, the chances are that somebody else has that question too, right? So please put that in there. Or, somebody contributed this week and I was super happy because I had a broken link. And like sometimes those things all work when you put them in there and something happens and then suddenly it doesn't. Okay. So like those are really, really important to me. And I know that sometimes we think that changes to readmes are not important, but for me, I think they're super important. That's what makes them open to everybody, and important. So please definitely feel I'm always up for issues, and I'm always up for pull requests on things that I've missed or could be explained better. I want this to be accessible to everybody. So I do ask that you fork the repo and you create a local copy on your machine. And I feel like maybe I need a link for that too, just to make that clear. But if you are interested in working on this project and you're not sure about how to do that, please feel free to contact me about it as well. So then you'll go run in the terminal / command line yarn and yarn start after you've done that. So I just want to walk through that like really quickly. Let's see, I've got my code editor open here, but this is probably like too far. So I use VS Code, and you don't have to use VS Code. You can use whatever. I used to use Atom, and that was cool too. But what I mean is you're going to CD into that repository. Okay, so I put all of mine in my projects folder, and I'll see if I can find a video on that and link to the best way to walk through this process. But then when I CD into the folder and then I open it up in my VS Code, I run yarn And that just makes sure that everything is installed properly. And then the next thing I do is, what is the next thing I do? I run yarn start. So let's go ahead and try that. I haven't tried this before on this computer, so we'll see how that does with live streaming. Oh, wait. Oh, do I want to install it globally? Yes. So this is a new computer for me, and I thought maybe I had it set up, and I did not. So now you get to see how long it takes to do all of the stuff that it needs to do. So it might take a little while to install all of these packages. And I really did think that I did that, but it's okay. It didn't happen. Let's see where else we can go here. Okay, so when I run yarn start, let's see if we can go in here and see. Okay, so when I run this, it starts Expo. So yarn start is a way to make sure that that happens. Okay, and so depending on how you are going to be running this project, you can run yarn Android or yarn iOS. So for me, I've been running it on my phone. And so when you run this and get it started, there will be a QR code that shows up, and you can scan that on your phone. And depending on what type of device you use, it'll show up on your phone, and you can actually see like hot reloads happening. So, you change something, you save it, and then it shows up on your phone, which is really cool. Just because before, when I was running it on my computer, it was just my computer was trying to die. It was going to catch on fire. So so there are some different things to do there. We have just set up. I've been trying to write some tests, and this is my first time writing tests in React Native. I've written a lot of tests in React, and React Native is not playing as nicely. So there's a learning curve for me, but I very much love tests and want to make sure that those are written too. And I am very happy to work with anybody who is interested on writing more tests for the project. Okay, let's see. It is opening. So here we go. It's like you've got my singing voice. Okay, so this is what I'm talking about. Here's the QR code. So what I would normally do is just screenshot that. And if you have the Expo app, it'll show right up and you can see what's happening. So you can see now this is building at the same rate as it is on my phone. And that is what's going on there. While that's happening, oh, wait a minute. Let's see. I don't know how to show you this because I'm on a camera. But the Postpartum Wellness app shows up there. So you could theoretically scan that from this video, I think, if you pause it, if you're interested in that, and you can kind of see what we have going on there. So not everything shows up. We're just kind of building out the UI right now, and to take us to the next step. And so we're kind of at a place that I'm super excited about moving forward. But I also wanted to go over some other things that are happening in the app. So first of all, that's not really what I wanted to do. And let's go zoom. Okay, so here we go. We are using React Native, like I said. And one of the things I love about React Native is their documentation. It is super nice. I think they break it down really nicely. If you have a background or understanding of JavaScript, then certainly this makes it much easier. So I would recommend that, or working through that. But also, it just depends on what works best for you. And so the nice thing is they have these snacks. Expo snacks is what it's called, and I'll show you. It's like a code sandbox, which basically means that there's some code here and you can see what's happening on the other side. Okay, so if I wanted to change the style of the text, let's see here. I already had some stuff that I was working on. So here I would do text style equals, and then I have an object here with the color. It changed to purple. And then the background color is Alice blue, which is this light blue. So you can kind of see that you can apply styles that way. That's not exactly how I am applying it in the app, but the point is that they have these interactive examples that make it really nice. And so documentation is super great and important, I think. And so I do I try to do a lot of linking to documentation when I build out the issues. Um, and when I'm working with somebody on the issues as well, I think that it just makes it really nice. And so another cool thing here, I'll take you to, okay, so this is outside of the documentation. This is in Expo Snack Sandbox. Okay. So this is one of the cool things. The last rounds, I was working on an issue with somebody. And so we were just trying to figure out like what the UI should look like. And so a nice way to kind of work through that was to be able to look at the snack and build out some options and to talk through some things. And so I am 100% not a designer, and I'm trying to embrace that idea by using things that I can that come built in by people who are much better at it than I am and getting an understanding. And so like one of the things that we did was kind of go through and say like, okay, these are some different options. Like, what do you think about these options? Um, and then we work from there. And then, the person I was working with could go through here and check this out. They can change it. And then you can kind of see how things look differently. Okay. So you can scan it, you can have it on iOS. And so like one of the fun things was I have an iOS device, and so the person that was working on the last issue had an Android device, and it was really cool because I got to see where things were really different. And so sometimes something looks one way on my device and when I run it, and then it looks differently on an Android device or on the web. And so there's this like back and forth negotiation sometimes that happens. And I'm sure like as I get more experience, I'll get better at understanding that and conceptualizing that. But it was just a really good negotiation and learning experience to have. And you can see like there are these different options that are happening here. What we are using, since I said I am not a designer, we're using React Native Paper. I'll try and make this bigger. Okay, so here you can kind of see all of the things that all of what we have available to us. And so again, like I should probably link this in my readme because it's really important or interesting, or now you know what you have available to you, right? So looking at this shows you like, okay, these are the things that we can do with what React Native Paper has. This is how we theme it. Like these are the different ways that components are styled. So it says here it follows Google's material design guidelines. And you can also try the snack as well. You can try it on your different devices. But this is kind of a nice way to see what's available. I'll also say that shout out to Pinterest. I frequently will look at Pinterest and see, okay, who else is using this? Are there things that I can look at that are similar or give me some idea of what I can do? So again, like it's one of those things that I'm always up for tips, advice, all of the things to understand what am I even doing? Let's see. Where am I at? Okay. So let's see. Okay, so I did say you can run this on your phone. If you have Xcode, you can run the app on your computer. Instead of Yarn Start, you can run Yarn iOS or Yarn Android. Xcode just sucks up so much of the life of my computer. So this is why I don't have it working right now. Let's see. The page will reload. You can also run yarn test, although I would not recommend that right now. Okay, and here's a fun thing. So I have been writing Markdown for about 3 years, and I do a really bad job of formatting the links properly. So there should be a link that you can click, and it should not be in parentheses with brackets around there. So I need to go ahead and fix that up. Also, super important, we have a code of conduct here, and I just want to make sure that everybody is super respectful to anybody who is working on this project. So please check that out, especially before you comment on an issue. If you want to know a little bit about what we are doing or what we're trying to do here, here are some of the things that we're doing. You can always reach out to me. I think that's my Twitter. That is my Twitter. Also, I love virtual coffee and I am there all the time. So you can find me there. If you want to know more about virtual coffee, you can check us out at virtualcoffee.io. If you want to become a member, you can come to one of our Tuesday or Thursday events. So what it is like an intimate group of developers at all stages of the tech journey. And we're there to support each other, to mentor each other, to help each other to grow, to lead. And we provide lots and lots of opportunities for that. So we actually have some lightning talks coming up pretty soon. And I'll link our YouTube in the notes to this video in case you're interested in checking those videos out when we get through processing them, because we've got some really, really fantastic stuff coming out. And I'm so proud of everybody that's been working really hard to, make that happen. So let's see. And I will say, like, virtual coffee, we ran a Hacktoberfest event in October, and I had so many contributions then, and really learned about the power of community and development. And working on this project alone was really challenging for me for a number of reasons, but having people who wanted to see it through and wanted to watch it grow was really, really meaningful. We have some open issues, but this is also a really great place if you see something that you would want to work on, or if you've run the app and you're like, well, we could do this better, feel free to open an issue. I'm very much developing this in a way that I would love community contribution. And so Dominic was one of our last contributors, and he was super, super awesome and worked really hard on a component. And so one of the things that we talked about was style sheets. So I showed you a little bit about how to do inline styling in that Expo snack and the documentation. But let's see, let me pull something up so I can talk about it a little bit more clearly. Okay, all right, he was working on the positivity toolbox. I hope this is readable. So we have all of our styles down here, and then we reference them, here. So style goes styles.card titles. So then you would need to go down here and you would need to go to styles. Here we go. Styles dot. Let's find card title. Right here. Okay. So this is what's happening. Now, the challenge with this is that for open source contributors, it might be challenging to figure out how to maintain consistency in style. So one of the things that I'm thinking about doing is having a styles component that gets imported just to make it a little bit easier. And I'm trying to look through and understand the best practices of what that is, but always feel free to comment on that issue or to work on that, because I would love to make this the best possible for all contributors. So we have, let's see, couple of these I think need updated. We had some things that were assigned, but definitely can be worked on some more. So I'm going to be working on updating these issues as well. One of the things that I think we'll be working on this week, adding ESLint and Prettier to the project. So I'm going to be working with that on Seth, and I think I'm going to be live streaming that as well, assuming that this goes okay. And I am very, very excited to see how that goes and to watch this project hopefully grow and to help me get a little bit more comfortable in what I'm doing here and talking about it, talking through these issues, because that's really important for me. So if you watch this video in its entirety, thank you. You are awesome, and I really appreciate you listening to this walkthrough of the Postpartum Wellness App. And I hope that you feel free to reach out to me with any questions, comments, suggestions that you have. And I hope to be doing this again soon. Bye.